When are you getting married?
There's a verse in the Bible where Proverbs says, a good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. And check, it's simply because of you slept on your responsibility. Look, man, I want to see a generation of people that will know who they are, right? People who are reaching their maximum potential and sowing seeds that benefits others.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Leadership Perspective with Kagiso Malepe. This episode, we're changing things up. Guess who's in the hot seat today? We have our guest slash host, Kagiso Malepe. Sir, how are you doing today?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
No, I am well.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, the weather is beautiful and yeah. How are you doing?
Tell us. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It has been a productive year, and there's a lot to celebrate. As much as there were challenges there and there, but I'm very excited. In every situation there's a lesson, so you don't have to focus much on the situation and miss the lessons. Yeah.
We're going to get to the year.
Sure.
Today, this episode, we're talking about the journey.
Okay.
21 years of ministry. 21 years.
Sure.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
So just walk us through the journey and tell us what you've learned. It's more of a reflection rather. So,
okay, look, I think my story is very interesting. In a way that I always tell people that I was born in Dipombong village, Northwest, South Africa. Always when I give stats, with a population of 1,148 people. And
very consistent.
Recently someone asked me and said, and so I'm not sure whether it's over or less because stats yeah, so that's where I was born. And Kitsamikile soccer. I had an opportunity to play karate. I had an opportunity to play cricket. And my passion and my desire was to be a pilot at some point. And sound like keyboard and this step. By the grace of God, the Lord touched me. I remember 1999, so that time it was bad, and I said to God, because Nekile servicing and seeing people getting healed, seeing God touching lives, and I was like, Lord, if you really heal people, you have to heal me. And if you can heal me, I promise you I will live for you the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And the Lord healed me. I got saved in 1999 by the grace of God, Kapoloswa. And look, I'm from a family, it was very interesting. We're drinking sometimes on weekends because the grandfather was in Joburg. So I was also exposed to some of these things when I was young, like drinking, a lot of things. I was exposed to them at an early age. Yeah, so got saved at the age of 9, and by the age of 12, I started to preach because it's a hakile, I think late 99, I started having dreams of seeing myself preaching the gospel. Look, I was confused. I don't want to be a preacher. I want to be a pilot. The dream came, I think, for, 5 times or so, until one time I met this wonderful man of God. Young man, I'm like, no, I want to be a pilot. He looked at me and was like, no, you are a man of God. You're going to win souls. You are an evangelist. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to win souls. Then I got home. I had another dream, seeing myself now preaching while wearing a school uniform. That was stressing because I saw myself healing the sick, raising the dead. Miracles were happening. I think through those dreams, that's where I realized, there is something that God has called me for. And the Lord confirmed through different servants of God. But I can say my life really changed when I had a supernatural encounter with God. It was one night I was, in my room. Then I had a vision. So in this vision, I saw, I always say the messenger of the Lord, you know, just to be safe. Because he threw something to my hands. And immediately I started to pray in tongues. So I heard a voice saying to me, greater are the things that will happen in your life as you begin to be in contact with the power of the Holy Spirit. So I was crying, continued to pray in other tongues. When I came to myself, I realized there is something that is different about me. I had passion for people. I loved people. I had passion for people who are sick. I had passion for prayer, passion for the word. So that supernatural encounter changed my life. So I remember there was this young boy who was crying, there's headache. I looked at the young boy and I'm like, you are healed. And he said, it's gone. That's how I started to realize the healing anointing upon my life. And the more I was doing it, I started to see people getting healed from stroke. You'd receive some medical reports, people coming with x-rays showing us all that. I mean, there was a point in my life, I even had, nekestoradi crutches. After praying for people with crutches, I would take those crutches and put them at home. And after some time, when they are number I would give them back to the hospital just to say, hey, so that's where actually I realized the power of God. And look, for those years, all I saw was, myself ministering and preaching the gospel. All I saw was Kagiso within the four walls of the church, Kagiso, in crusades. And fine, when I was 15, God opened a door for me to start preaching in radio. I was 15 on television. I came, I think I was around about 19, 20, and the Lord has really been good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So now take us back to your childhood. You are playing with other children,
Sure.
Bolo.
Yeah.
Then the next thing, you get this dream that tells you, you're different.
Sure.
Come on.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have to focus now.
Yeah.
Go to the secret place now.
Sure.
Walk us through that experience.
Look, I must say it was very interesting because how it started, I remember at some point Keramani, my aunt, and I'm saying to her, I had people talking about prayer, fasting, and I'm like, one day I'm going to fast. And we are playing there, my friends are laughing, you, fasting? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to fast. And my aunt goes to say, fasting so I don't know how you interpret that. I'm like, okay. I'm like, no, I want to fast. I need God. I think that's where my story changed because I had this hunger for God. I started with 3 days fasting, 14 days fasting, 21, 40 days. There were days where I would go to the bush and sleep there alone, no cell phone. And I was so hungry for God. I saw all I was doing, I was praying for people to be saved, people to be healed. I had this hunger. Lord, just give me money to give people, to empower kids. I need money to take people to school. I need money to touch lives. That's all I wanted,
Sure.
Yeah, so as a result of that, I mean, you are playing with these guys. Now your routine has changed. How to make you a soccer, when you are no longer there for soccer, you are praying. Mudimu, I pray for South Africa and pray for people in prison. You understand? So at some point, people are like, di boy wahafa. There is something wrong,
Yeah.
And now you are rejected by your friends, right? Because they don't understand the kind of life you are living. All of a sudden, uchenchile. You had your nicknames. I had nicknames. And so on. So now, all of a sudden, the lifestyle changes, okay? Then you think, all right, maybe the best way is for me to go to church. Church people will understand. Then how back then, people were shocked, like, such a young boy, aren't you supposed to be playing with people of your age, So what did it do to me? Young sharp, I felt rejected, right? And why did I feel rejected? It became a trigger to me. I was rejected by my biological father, because I always felt rejected by my biological father, because you know, the only memory that was there was when he was saying, I'll buy you a bicycle, and I was doing grade 2. So now I'm playing with friends, and friends are like confused. I'm a joke there. Yeah, when I'm Ruti. So they shifted me. I mean, they even changed the name they were calling me with to Pastor. And I go, Pastor, get Pastor King. So I know get Pastor. And back then they were doing that to mock me. You understand? So now you're like Pastor. And look, I continued to have this relationship with God, then went to church. When you got to church, yeah, obviously some preachings would change. Abafundis would start changing preachings.
Yeah.
And I felt, no, I can't do this, you know. So I locked myself in a room for some time. I would listen to other preachers preaching, study books. That's what I did, you know. Not knowing that preparation is helping me to be where I am today. Because remember, what you do with your time determines what you're going to produce in your time. At times we allow our ambitions, you know, to exceed our time, or how we prepare ourselves. So preparation is very key. So I did not know that time, Hore. It is part of preparation. And I did not know how spending more time with God will actually introduce, you know, God will, like spending time with God will help me to know who I am. So God introduced me to me. Yeah.
In the past 2 episodes, the main subject
Sure.
has been family.
Okay.
And so I want to ask her, in that period where you're experiencing rejection and your friends are abandoning you and the church that you run to is also looking at you differently, what role does your family play in this?
Look, I thank God for my family, and that's one thing I need to clarify. My family is a blessing to me, to my life, to my ministry, to my business, and everything that I'm doing. However, one of the things that you need to know is this. It was strange. You are 12 years old.
Yeah.
And you are telling people that I am preaching the gospel. And remember, you are this boy who's preaching the gospel. You see at times when you are praying, people are falling down. I don't even know why myself. Then you are praying, you see people getting healed. I mean, it was a shock. You understand? Then at times you are at home relaxing. Then an old grandmother just comes and tell you, Huriewen, you must stop praying too much. Or lapisamdim. And you're like, no, I'm having a relationship with God. And she says, continue, because if you don't continue, we're going to kill you. And you realize, kill me for what?
Yeah.
Then sometimes people would come tell you, yeah, we're not gonna kereke kalibitso laka. Now, what did I say about you? You know, no, you were praying, and then this thing, this and this happened. Then that's where you realize, we are basically working. Kingdoms are not the same here. You understand? I mean, there were days whereby I remember one time I was walking out Kontlong, and these other 2 guys were coming. They are running and screaming. I mean, it was around 7 in the evening. They are running and screaming. King Katsi, you know, they are Katsi King, Kiketa. Yeah, Babona Katsi. And Katsi, I'm like, Le Kataba Katsi. That's me. I'm like, Kataba Katsi. And then I go with them. When it came, I realized, it's a mamomoing. You understand? Oh. So I mean, that was that was a mystery for me. And all I could do was just to call the name of Jesus. I did not know, and it disappeared. You understand? So that's how my journey was interesting. I mean, I had to fight battles I didn't even know. Yeah, but by the grace of God, I must say 3 things that really helped me was prayer, faith, and, you know, prayer, faith, and obedience.
Prayer, faith, and obedience.
Yes.
That is that's a powerful trio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's talk about the transition from...
You know, now that you're talking about family.
Yeah.
Yeah, before we transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to say that because I was strange, my mom was confused. because she did not know how to deal with me as a child.
Okay.
You get my point? So you are confusing even to your family. They love you, they are there for you. But even if you can say, I saw a vision, this is what I saw, they can't tell you horubua kai. So what she did, abe abuale 2 men of God at that time. I want you to mentor my son because I don't understand what's happening. So the 2 men of God had to be there in my life by the grace of God. And I give God the glory that, being with them, because I remember one of them, Kimruti Mandamteto, when I spoke to him about some of the visions that I saw. I remember Arikona, and that time, I mean, keep on kele stadium, keep on kele famous, kele powerful. And that man comes and tells me, oh, no, the visions that you are seeing now doesn't mean that you have to go to the stadium now. It simply means that's where you are going. It's time for you to prepare yourself. You can't be saved today, be an apostle tomorrow, be an evangelist tomorrow. Then all of a sudden you're on the street. You need to celebrate process. You need to be prepared. And I think that's one of the reasons why today we have got so many misrepresentations of the gospel, so many things that we see, too much abuse in the church. It's because of most guys that are standing in that pulpit were not trained or were not discipled. You understand? So I think for me, that was an eye-opener to say, okay, you need to celebrate process more than events. So look, my family was there. It was supportive. There is no event that I hold where you don't see my family, whether it be a crusade, whether it be a seminar, whether it's a business seminar or pastoral or whatever meeting I have, whether my family is in line to it or not in line to it. But the fact that I'm hosting that event, you see my family. I guess that's why you are here anyway.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we were talking about the transition.
Sure.
Moving from the village to the city. As a young person.
Sure.
That is very intimidating. I mean, you say you have the call of God and nobody understands you, and now you're transitioning from your comfort zone to a place where nobody knows you and you have this vision that you believe in. Tell us about that.
I think it's a very interesting one because remember that I was staying in the village Monday to Friday, like Mondays, and on Fridays I would come to Joburg, right? Because my parents and everybody was here, my aunts, they were here because at some point I stayed alone. You know the story of me staying alone as a young person. Not that they were not there, they were there, we were talking. However, they were working this side, so I had to remain at home. So I would come this side on weekends. So always coming to Joburg, you'd be like, okay, these people, babua sekoa, I remember when I hear people talking English, it felt like they are talking in tongues, another language that I don't understand. And because the English in my head and the English in my mouth, so my name is Kagiso, you understand? So then from there you can't even continue with the conversation. What it did, it destroyed, it used to affect my confidence. That is number one. Number two, I had issues with my teeth, right? If you check, my teeth are very special because of the village I'm from. So, thing nasang triti shapo in terms of men. So always when people talk, I would try to make sure I hide my hand. If you check, even when I do interviews, as much as now I'm confident, but because of it has been a habit that has been there for years, I would try to hide my teeth. So that was a challenge. Each and every time I had to talk to people, and imagine you are still going to preach the gospel, you're still going to have leadership seminars, you're still going to touch people, yet you are struggling with this, And at some point I thought maybe I should visit a dentist. Then my mind was also saying, no, you must build your confidence be comfortable with who you are, be comfortable with yourself. Then when you are really comfortable, like now I'm very comfortable, I can talk to anyone anytime. So getting to the city, I think that those were two major things for me that were affecting my confidence: English and my teeth. So as a result, when people talk, I would wish I can have an input. You know what to say, but you don't know how you're gonna say it. It was a challenge, And now you even thinking there are churches where you're supposed to go there, preach in English and so on. Then I thought to myself, maybe the best way, what I have to do is to expose myself, because remember, the greatest gift that one can give to himself, it's exposure. Okay? The greatest gift that one can give to himself is exposure. You will never rise above the level of your exposure. Never. So now I was like, okay, fine. Let me expose myself to environments of greatness. Let me expose myself to places that make me uncomfortable, yet they trigger greatness in me. I may be uncomfortable for a certain season or a certain time, but eventually I'll get used to them until I become uncomfortable, and obviously I would want to go to another level, even get to dimensions. And that mindset really helped me a lot. Yeah, it really helped me a lot, to a point that I came to Joburg on weekends. Then when I get home, I would start, there was normally the Popeye, it's a Dragon Ball Z. So never better score. So when Dragon Ball Z was playing, I would be interested in the English. Then I started buying newspaper, read a newspaper. Then I started I remember the English Bible I was using, it was borrowed. So I would make sure I expose myself, teach myself English. Tsatsi le ke simolotseng go bua English kwa assembly ko sekolong. I'm telling you, ke ra tsatsi le ke simolotseng go bua English kwa assembly, my principal was saying to me, you know what, we thank God to have the man of Malepe's caliber. So in short, a transition was not easy, because I always felt uncomfortable. Until now, I am feeling comfortable, and when I get to the village, I'm uncomfortable. So now I am forced to do what? I'm forced to come and make sure that I, put certain systems that help me to be comfortable there.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And what is a lesson or principle that you would want to give to a young person who is still in their cocoon, in their comfort zone, to say, go out?
Look, man, I can say many things, but the most important thing is, one, don't look down on yourself. Don't look down on yourself. And number two, it's never allow your background to define who you are. Because I've got all the reasons not to make it. I mean, I can stand here and tell you, in my village, we don't have a school, right? I was going to make that an excuse and say, I'm where I am because we don't have a school, we don't have an internet cafe. I can mention whole lots of things that we don't have, you understand? So I want to say to a young person, don't look down on yourself. That is number one. And you know what? Learn to appreciate where you are. It doesn't matter how painful the environment might be. It doesn't matter whether it is good or what, but learn to appreciate where you are, because in life, you need to know that God has a purpose for all of us. And the Lord knew very well, or when out of wa move wa kopana lemang a ruta eng, because God has that plan, and He knows during this season of your life, this is what you are going to learn, and during this challenge, this is what you are going to learn. So I want to say, don't look down on yourself. That is number one. And number two, make sure that you look at the areas of your frustrations, okay? Check the areas of your frustration, because more often the areas of your frustrations are an indication of your assignment or an indication of your purpose. Check what frustrates you, what drives you, what are you passionate about. And once you do that, for example, you may go to a place, and when you get there, you see people who are sick, and you are not moved with compassion. But somebody who has a healing gift, when he sees those people, he'll be moved by compassion because he's frustrated to see people that are sick, right? You may go to a place and you see poor people or someone begging and you're like, okay, why these people are sitting there? Why are they not in their homes? But there's someone who is frustrated when he sees such people. He wishes, I wish I had a place where I can make sure that these people have a home and so on. That's a sign or an indication of their purpose. So I want to say to, that young man, as you say, check the areas of your frustration. Check the people that you are attracted to. There are people that fascinate you. So check. You may find that person lives, push assignment you are aligned to it. So it is very important. Number 3, as a young person, make sure that you find you. Dr. Dida was here the other day. He said, find you and develop you. And I always say, learn to invest in your greatest resource. You are the greatest resource. We tweet them over you know what? It's not about who clap hands for me. It's not about who celebrates me. It's a favor, like develop yourself. Personal development, it's very key. It is very important. And you need to be very intentional when coming to your personal development. Be very intentional. For example, you need to be clear, okay, fine, this is 2023 or I'm going to 2024. How is my intellectual development? At times, or powerful, or I'm going far. You can't even define where is far, simply because you are not developed. So get to a point where you say, okay, I'm going to develop my mind. If make sure that you take time, go to gym, exercise, and develop yourself. If it's the area of finances that needs attention, do that. It's very important. So in short, I want to say to that young person, be intentional, don't be casual. And the other point that is very important, manage your time well. That's very key. I think that one I can talk for a very long time. Just manage your time well, because the glory of a young man is his strength. Right now, the energy you see, in the next coming 25 years, it's gonna leave you. Eventually, the same way you run, when you are 40, you won't be running that way. So the glory of a young man is his strength. Make sure that you use your time wisely, and make sure you stop procrastinating. Today, do them today. It is very important. It's a favor, and be intentional. And we compare, like take yourself very serious, because if you don't, no one will take you serious. And I think, because it's many nuggets, I can say to you, teach people who have the grace of access to you, how to respond or how to talk to you. I repeat, the people that have got the grace of access to you. So because it's grace actually for people to have access to you. So when people come to your space, they need to know how they talk to you, how they address you, and what language do they talk. I had to be very intentional. I want to surround myself with people who talk personal development, people who talk growth, people who challenge me. I mean, if you have friends and you find yourself, you are the one who's driving the best car among your friends, you are not growing. You get? And if among your friends you are the one who has a lot of money, you are not growing. Expose yourself to people that will challenge how you think.
Yeah. KM Leadership Seminars.
Okay.
You have a passion for personal development, and you have structured it in a way that allows people to come to you and say, hey, I struggle with this. What do I have to do? Where does KM Leadership Seminars come in?
Look, I think in life it's all about purpose, right? purpose is the reason for your existence. Purpose, the reason for your existence. I had to know why I'm born so that I can live the purpose-driven life, okay? So once you know your purpose and you are clear with your purpose helps you to create vehicles, okay? You'll have to create different vehicles that help you to fulfill your purpose. So for me, I know I am very passionate about seeing people worshiping God in spirit and in truth. I know that I'm very passionate about seeing people having an intimate relationship with God. However, there are many people that don't have a relationship with God because some are poor, some are sick, some are going through a lot, some are oppressed, some are depressed. So as a result, I had to say, create vehicles that are going to help you to address the issues that people are facing. Okay, so number one, when I established life-changing ministries with miracles following by the grace of God, I knew very well that the focus is people that are not saved, people that need healing, people that are bound, people that need deliverance. So that's how I founded life-changing ministries by the grace of God, right? Then after starting life-changing ministries, with life-changing ministries, we traveled, pitched crusades all over, bought some radio slots. I mean, we grew from there. I mean, we touched the whole 9 provinces of South Africa, touched few places, Zimbabwe, Botswana. And after that, we established Life-Changing Family Center, right? So when I established the center, I remember it was during the time where, you know, the evangelistic ministry was growing very well at its peak, touching lives. Then we started with Life-Changing Family Center in Garankuwa that moved later to Dipompong because, I mean, when we were in Garankuwa, we built Garankuwa and we branched to Dipompong. So I had to split resources. I had to split it was texting, it was taking much of my time. So we thought, no, let's combine the two since, well, the land is big in Dipompong. Let's build there in Dipompong. And we built, by the way, we built the first building and the first building fell. I mean, everybody was excited that the building, you know, is there and the building fell. So the building that is there now, it's actually the second building. Oh. Yeah, so Life-Changing Family Center was there. So as I was talking and, you know, touching lives and so on, I had this passion to start what we called Leadership Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, the seminars, when they started, it was not actually supposed to be seminars. The plan was to start a Leadership Academy. Okay? I wanted a school where we teach leadership because I realized that one of the challenges that we are facing in our nation, politics, business, you know, family and all that, it's leadership. So when we were, like during that process, I spoke to some few people about my vision to start Leadership Academy. And one man said to me, look, Kagiso, you are a brand. You don't know that you are a brand. I did not know. So he said, you are a brand. Your work is really speaking for you. You have done a lot in a short space of time. And when he told me about some of these things, I don't know. I mean, at times when people talk about me, I'm like, who are they talking? I don't even know. Then I was like, oh, okay, no, I hear you. So he advised me to say, you know, I think it's time that we package your brand because it's not like you are not a brand. The problem is your brand packaging, right? Then look, that time I was printing t-shirts, KM, you know, KM caps, and yeah, people were buying. It was all about that. And I was busy with a book that was not supposed to be written, that I believe that I would publish probably when I'm 50 years old. Although some few people have been advising me to say, no, publish the first part, then the other part you'll publish later. But I'm still, you know, it's still, yeah, but a lot we wrote. Even if we were to say, let's publish today, we would publish today. But I don't think I am ready yet to publish it because In that book, I'm so honest and blunt. I'm forever honest and blunt. But there I wrote even the details that, you know, as a young man, you'd even ask yourself, kanti modimo o bereka bjang fela? You understand? Because there I'm also revealing the weaknesses, some of the things I've done, some of the because people have a perception that when you are a preacher, look, I was 12 years old when I started to preach. So people were looking for me to be, they were expecting me to be matured, and it was impossible. You understand? You would make mistakes as a young person. And unfortunately, you are a young man, but you are an anointed young man. So every mistake you do won't be seen like a normal young man. You understand? So, but there I'm explaining how, you know, how some of these judgments and so on affected me, my perception towards the church, how I got healed. I'm showing all those things.
Sounds like something.
So KM was actually born from there. So during brand packaging, we looked at everything that I'm doing. We realized I'm doing too many things. So we just had to split and say KM has 3 pillars. One, which is people development. People development, we are doing like seminars, coaching, interactive sessions, and we have communication, radio, TV, media. This is part of communication, wellness. So in our wellness, you know, we have the center, the evangelistic, and there is life-changing corporate support. You know, where there are times where during COVID, most companies were really going through a lot, demoralized, people were discouraged. So we had to come there and give that support. There are times where people would go through bereavement in companies, and obviously you'd find it affects how they are doing things and so on, because if a leader goes, then people get affected. That's where we come in. Yeah. So KM was born like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we are really going to need that book.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that book needs to be published.
Yeah.
So there's a question that
no.
I have been wanting to ask.
Oh no.
This question keeps me up at night.
I know Sholani is coming for that question.
It's a huge concern.
Okay.
It keeps me up at night. And I know I'm not alone. There's a list of people.
Is it true that he's not out?
Who could relate?
Is it true that
to
he's
this
not?
Question?
Is it true? What's the question?
Mr. Minier,
Yeah.
when are you getting married?
That's the one. That's the one.
Like, when are you getting married?
So that's the one that everyone is waiting for.
This is an ambush, yeah. You are in the hot seat now. We want to know, when are you getting married?
Yo, look, man, I think the past years, few interviews, I was asked the same question. And I would always answer it by saying, I may marry this year, next year, in 10 years' time, or in 20 years' time, or 30, you know. But I'm trusting God. I'm a man of faith. And I know that Hlulani, we have agreed that 2024 we will correct the error. Yeah, so we have to correct this error.
No.
Yeah, I think that's the simplest way we can put it.
Yeah.
Let's just ask Uti, is there someone to help you correct the error?
Look, man.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we thank God. You know, God is really able, and He's surely going to help me to correct this error. Yeah.
That's a pure answer. That is a pure answer.
Yeah.
So would you say being exposed at a young age
Sure.
somehow affected how you view certain things, such as marriage?
A lot. Because remember that with my kind of work, people would come for counselings. I mean, the first time I had a woman complaining about her marriage, crying and saying, I need prayer, I was 16 years old.
Whoa.
So at that age, you are listening to this woman telling you her experiences and so on, you know. So it's like you get exposed to more bad news in that aspect until you decide to be intentional to study about that aspect. Then when you become intentional to say, I want to learn about this, that's when you realize, oh, there are beautiful marriages actually. There are people that are working hard to make sure they understand each other, they build strong families, and they end up representing God properly, you know. But my exposure, I must say, it has shaped or you know, it has shaped how I think. Yeah.
No, that is beautiful.
Yeah.
So 2024, correcting the era.
Yeah, that's what we agreed with Sholani in the boardroom.
So are you agreeing with the audience? Are you agreeing with the family as well? Next year this time.
Next year by this time.
Next year this time.
What's the date today?
What is the date?
Yeah, next year by this time.
30th November.
Yeah, next year by this time.
Next year this
we have
time.
agreed we are correcting. The error would already be corrected.
You are on record.
You're on record. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
2024.
Yeah.
So now, where do you see yourself in 50 years? Yeah.
Sure, man.
Let's talk about that.
The next coming 50 years, man, I mean, that time I would be very comfortable. I'm sure I won't be doing so many up and downs like I'm doing now. I'd be advising, you know, the leaders. I'm advising leaders now, but that time I would have resigned from pastoring. I would have resigned from KM. I would have resigned from all the 3 entities that I'm currently leading. Yeah, because look, I am a leader who believes that whatever that God is building through me now, it's a multi-generational vision. It does not only have to affect me, you know. There's a verse in the Bible where Proverbs says, a good man leaves inheritance to his children's children. So if the inheritance I leave only affects my children, not my children's children, it means I've not worked. So by that time, what I'm seeing is, you know, I would be very comfortable and looking at sons and their children running everything while I'm still alive. My responsibility would be focusing on my first identity in ministry, which is intercession, because I'm very passionate about praying for people. I want to see people making it in life. I want to see people, you know, growing. Hence, I say I'm influencing the influencers to reach their maximum potential.
In 50 years' time, you will be a well of wisdom.
Yeah.
And married. Hopefully with kids.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No, I was just checking. I'm just
That
doing
era we agreed. It's on record.
Yeah, no, I'm just doing my due diligence as your
Yes.
brother to ensure that you know what.
Yes.
You know? Yeah. So I hear you, sir. Multi-generational vision.
Yeah.
What do you wish to see as far as your multi-generational vision is concerned? What do you wish to see your children achieve? Or what is in the multi-generational vision for you?
Look, man, I want to see a generation of people that will know who they are, right? People who are reaching their maximum potential and sowing seeds that benefits others. That's all.
Simple. That is beautiful. No, I hear you, sir. Multi-generational vision.
Because from what I'm seeing, since you started, you've been talking about one thing which is, for me, the core foundation of the ministry of Christ, being compassionate towards other people, because in your multi-generational vision, that's the same message that you are preaching.
Yeah.
Because when you read scriptures, it will tell you that Christ saw the multitude and was compassionate towards them.
Yeah.
Before he fed them, before he healed them, compassion was the first thing that he had. And I'm seeing that with you, how deep does that go with your vision and also with who you are as a person in general?
Yeah. Look, I think I must clarify by saying each and every time when people ask me, what are your goals? Or, what are your goals? Truth be told, if I can be clear, I would say I don't have goals, because the goals I have are the goals of Christ. Because if you give me a car today, it will still work for God. You understand? You give me camera today, I'll still use it to work for God. The only thing is we may package the language differently. It's like in our seminars where I would be saying to you, we are talking about personal development, we are talking about passion and purpose. You can't talk purpose without God. You can't talk passion without God. You understand? So what I'm doing is I'm actually living my life to just represent God properly.
No, that is beautiful. So now, there is a question that I have.
No, this one, no, it's heavy. Like,
this one, yeah. So now, there's been an uprise of social media, preachers, if I may.
Yeah.
And it's concerning because now you find that you go on Facebook and you see an elder at church going on a rant, talking about different things. And how does that affect the image of the church?
Look, man, I think you're talking about social media preachers, right? Yeah. There is only positive, lead negative. You understand? I think as preachers, we just need the wisdom to understand, or some messages require you to preach them for probably, for an hour. The message that you would be clear to people in an hour, you can't expect to communicate it in 1 minute. You understand? And I think, truth be told, social media preaching has done a powerful impact. However, I also have a problem when we preach things that confuse people. Because more often you would come with something that confuses people and what is the basis? It's like someone talking about a chapter, asabala verse 1, hearing the background, verse number 30. That's where the problem is. Yeah. So we as I don't know, maybe I need to say preachers also must be taught how to engage with media. Yeah, preachers must be taught how to engage with media, because it's not everything that must go to media or to public. There are messages when I teach them, I know very well I can't put them on record and say everybody should consume that content, because our level of maturity and understanding is not the same.
Oh, no, you've answered that question. And hopefully someone out there can take it and apply it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, now just a quick one.
Yeah, by the way, that's Fulani talking. Yeah.
Anyway, so my question is, actually, I don't know if I'm gonna put this correctly, but I hope you're gonna understand my question. Then I have, I know how to say it, but I don't have the English.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think it's a matter of perspective, and coming from a church member, like a person who's like part of a community called church,
sure,
and perceiving our leaders and perceiving our pastors and stuff like that. And I know the Bible, speaks of, I think it was Abraham, if I'm not mistaken, when he got drunk, the children had to Noah. It was Noah. After the flood. Yes. Sorry. And then the children had to cover the shame, but there was
there was a brother who exposed,
Sure.
The father. So my question is, in this time and age, in this generation that we're living, social media, of other influences around us, of knowledge, we're exposed to knowledge like each and every day and stuff like that. But my question is, what would be your advice to to such a situation where you would need to seeing that maybe your leader or your person that you're looking up to is doing something off, and you don't doubt that they're called of God.
Sure.
But like you were saying, like people tend to remove the element of being a person in a preacher. When they see a preacher, they see an angel.
Sure. Sure.
So like my question is, what would be your advice in terms of having to cover the shame of our leaders and the shame of our fathers in this time and age of because there's a lot of justification.
Sure.
That can happen. And but I hope I'm making sense.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. Yeah, you are. Look, it's I think this one it's very interesting and tricky at the same time, ne? Because ke batla re lebelle with kore ka matlhakore a farologaneng. Yeah, re lebelle ka matlhakore a farologaneng. One, let me start with leaders or preachers, ne? Everybody has a blind spot. Okay, everybody has a blind spot. You may be a driver for 10 years. Or driver transiaga. But there are days mo ileng hore how driver utlwe somebody o motho ka wa botsa hore ho a thula hona le transi zwagalang wabo. It's a blind spot. So the challenge of our generation is when leaders or preachers don't acknowledge hore everybody has a blind spot, because it's not necessary for us to defend ourselves. We just need to show accountability. Or okay, fine, ke tshunne flopo iso and I acknowledge hore 1, 2, 3, 4 I was not supposed to do. And more often, check, it's simply because of you slept on your responsibility. Practical example, David was supposed to be at war. He didn't go to war. Then what did happen? What happened? He saw Bathsheba. The problem was not with Bathsheba. The problem was with David. He slept on his responsibility. Yes, you see. Same thing with Delilah and Samson's story. The man was supposed to be at war. You get my point? So now we have a generation of preachers that blames the congregation and be like, no, you understand? The truth is, I slept on my responsibility. I need to acknowledge that part. Because if I cannot acknowledge that part, video after video trying to sort out the issue of PR or bona. Guys, see this. No. Let's just be honest and blunt. I loved what Dr. Dida said the other day about being naked. Look, man, honal di flopo in my life, you understand? Anointed as I am, gifted as I am, and as a person. So I need to acknowledge, okay, this one I was not supposed to do. Let me give a practical example. Look, whoever can criticize it, write about it, tweet about it, a practical example that happened. There was a point in my life I dated a lady just for a few months, right? And the lady reported me to my father in the faith where I account. You get my point? You are young and he reports you. So the father in the faith called and he says, look, come, answer for 1, 2, 3, and 4. What did I do? I told my father everything that I've done from 2000 and what years ago. You get my point? Then out of that, the old man starts to realize, or no, look, Kagiso, I think there are issues in your life. I agree you are anointed by God. I agree you are a powerful preacher, but there are issues in your life that we need to pay attention to, because this behavior or this pattern may be a sign that there is an area in your life that needs attention. Okay? So now, that time you need to go check. How is your relationship with your father? How is the upbringing? How was this? So you check all those things. Then take full responsibility of them as a preacher and say, I acknowledge I am called. But this and this happened. And as a result, I have built this system, which is a blind spot. I was not aware that it's a blind spot. But this thing will be a javelin. It will wait for my rise. Just when I rise, it will come after me. You know, most of scandals told you long. I told me today. They've been there for long. But they think or they just waited for your rise. What did he do? He called me. He said to me, okay, fine. For now, I want you to stop preaching for a while. Let's sort out 1, 2, 3. I had to stop preaching. It was difficult. I had to cancel even some invites. Phone people. Posters were already out. Hey, I'm not coming. Why? Because I had to go through that process. In 2023, another preacher was going to say, you understand? All those things, you would hear them. But truth be told, we need to get to a level in life where we acknowledge where we have made mistakes. I wrote a status last week saying, if I'm wrong, I am wrong. No matter how much you love me, don't defend me and fail to correct me. So it's very important. Let's make sure that we don't make that mistake. Don't fail to correct me simply because of you love me. And this generation has a problem because we always support people that we love, even at an expense of the truth.
Murut, just a quick one.
Yeah.
I hear you are talking so much about the man of God taking accountability.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the same scenario. The father is naked.
Yeah.
And he's willing, but the church is up there in front saying, hands off our men of God. Because that's what's happening in the church, where even with people that are these people blind, what's happening? Because I, as the man of God, want to take responsibility, but I have a whole congregation that is saying, hands off our men of God, hashtag, Papa this and that. How do we then deal with that?
I mean, you are the man of God, right? You have a voice. So in other words, every teaching you teach, they listen to. So get to a point where you tell them, teach them the truth, to say, guys, I agree, but I am not the standard. The word of God is the standard, which is very important. I'm not the standard. The word of God is a standard, because if you keep on going on this rate, you're going to end up worshiping me. What does it going to do to a man of God? You're going to be destroyed. So we need to be careful, because at times I agree that people need to be loyal. I agree that people need to be humble. People need to submit. That I agree. But let's not do it at an expense of the word of God. Because at times we even walk away from the word and behave like the word is quiet about certain issues. Why? Because we are protecting a man. Look, the least you can do is to go to your room, pray for that man. You don't need to go and say, hands off our man of God. It's not a campaign, this thing. It's the gospel of Jesus. As you pray, the Holy Spirit will convict the man, and the man will be able to change. Data can change a human being. It's the presence of God that will change a person.
Hey, you are able.
It's passion.
So now, as we close, what are some of the words that you would love to leave to the people that are watching at home?
Look, all that I have to say to the people that are watching at home is that, you know what, be thankful. I think that's all that I can say. Just be thankful and appreciate God for the life that you are living today. And one other thing that is very important, make sure that you become genuine. Be genuine and upgrade. And the other thing is that, you know what, no matter how many people clap hands for you, no matter how people celebrate you, don't lose yourself in the midst of the crowd. Always remember who you are. And I want to say these words and say to you, make sure that you don't become someone that you are not. At times, we try to make peace with people outside and we start war inside us. However, I want to say to you, it's okay to have peace inside and experience war outside. What am I saying? I'm simply saying, be true to your values, be true to your principles. Nelson Mandela said, a man who changes his principles because of who he's dealing with, he said, that man is not ready to become a leader. God bless you.
Mr. Minyer.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for this chat. Thank you for having me.
I was about to correct him and be like, this is my space, this is my territory. Next week I'll be here with my viewers again.
Thank you for having me. It's really an honor.
Yes, I believe that you will come back again so that we can talk heart to heart.
And hopefully by that time I would have grown as well.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for this opportunity, and hopefully this thing just continues to grow. It will continue to grow, and it will continue to make an impact throughout leaders, people in South Africa as a whole, and even the whole world.
Man, before you close, because you're gonna close, you're the one who opened the show, right?
Yes.
I want you to tell people how they contact you, or
They can send an email at Onkabetse Mosenami@gmail.com.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
No, I'm doing the outro.
Okay, yes.
Today, you're the guest today, isn't it?
Yes, thank you for having me.
People at home, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Onkabetse Mosenami, and thank you for being with us. Until next time.